encourage you to have as much of an open mind as you can have this evening as you hear from the different perspectives. And with that, I'm going to turn it over because I think those of you all in the room have the really interesting things to say. Again, on behalf of the OEOP, I just want to say thank you all for spending some time with us this evening, and I hope that this will be a very fruitful conversation.
Great, thanks, Ebony. Pull up some slides. Yeah, and so hi everyone, I'm Meredith Lawrence. I'm the OEOP's Communications and Alumni Coordinator. And so in terms of logistics, there's a chat box on your should be on your screen that you can type questions in throughout the webinar, and I'll bring up to our panel so they can answer all of your questions about making your college decisions. And then also the recording of this webinar will be available in a few weeks online. We'll send you an email. And at the very end of the webinar, we'll be sending out a survey so you can give us our feedback. And I'm going to pass it off to Linda.
All right. Hello again. Just a few things before we get started to introduce our panel. This is a great opportunity for you to reframe your thinking about colleges and get some information from our alumni. They are a great resource to tap into, and we're really excited they're here. I encourage you to ask questions, as we have said, and thank you for those who have already submitted some questions. We will get to all of those, and I'm going to introduce our panel. We have a few people who are on, who are actually joining us online. One is Patty Rodarte, who is MIT.
Hello.
She's currently at Brown, and she will introduce herself. MIT's 14. We have Ivan Roman, who's at UMass Amherst. He may not be on yet, but he will be. He is a SEED 2016 graduate. We have Sunny Deep here, who is STEM 09 and MIT's 15, who is currently at Northeastern, class of 2020. We have Elena Alberti, who was in E2 2014 and at MIT, class of 2019. Falake Ogunmola, who was MIT's 2010 and graduated from Yale in 2015 in biomedical engineering and is currently in the workforce, so she has a whole other perspective to give you. And who am I forgetting? Alex Roman, who is MIT's 14 and here at MIT, class of 2019. And Kelly Yang, who is E215, SEED 16, and Harvard class of 2020. And we're going to start off with Quinton McArthur, who is in admissions at MIT. And you can introduce yourself further.
Sure.
Ready.
Hi, everybody. Oh, he said you guys are muted, but never mind. So I guess they're hearing us now.
I think now they can hear us.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
They probably.
You can hear the words coming
Yes.
out?
Now, yes, now we can.
It's really strange to have a camera talk back to you. Okay, nevertheless, I think that, oh, do I have to start all the way over?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You've got decisions in your hands.
Okay, yeah.
It's your time. If you need help, perhaps hearing the stories of others who have made the decision before you can be helpful. So let's go there.
And we will also get your advice too,
Yes.
whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right. Would anyone like to start? Can we start with you, Falake?
I can start.
All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Falake. I am a MIT 2010 alum. I've been a TA with the office for the past 4 years now, I think. And I graduated from Yale in 2015 with a degree, like Linda said, in biomedical engineering. And I currently work for a software company doing product management course. And I think I decided to choose Yale based on two things. One is I felt comfortable on the campus when I went to visit. And two, the financial aid package is really great, so it made it really affordable for my family to afford sending me to the university. I think most importantly was that I could see myself enjoying my 4 years there, and I felt comfortable and at home while on campus. So, yeah.
Hi again. So my name is Lena Alberti. I'm currently at MIT. I'm the class of 2019 studying finance. I was an E214 alum, and I TA'd MIT 16 and RA'd E2 16. So what I really considered when I was choosing MIT was rigor and then also fit. I wanted a program that would really challenge me and push me to my limits, but I also wanted somewhere where I would feel comfortable with the people and have a network that could support me while I was being challenged. And I think that's really important and something that you'll be able to see more from your campus preview weekends is what are the people like, and do you feel like you can call them your friends in the future?
Thank you. Oh, Sunny.
Hi.
Do I have you on camera? Yep. Now I do. There you go.
Cool. Hi, so my name is Sunny D, and I'm from STEM 2009 all the way to 2012, and I'm also from MIT 15. I'm currently a freshman in Northeastern University. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. And I guess throughout the process, what I really considered was money, that's for sure, the co-op, and also the location of the school. So I really liked a city environment, and I think that was like a really big factor in choosing my college. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alex. I am a sophomore here at MIT, class of 2019. And I am from the MITE's class of 2014, and I TA'd this past summer, 2016 of MITE. And when I was choosing MIT, there were a few factors for me, and kind of like the major ones were kind of like financial aid package, because I really needed to have money to go to college, and also atmosphere, like academic atmosphere, as well, including how like my comfort level with the place, and I also wanted to be kind of away from home, just to experience it. Like as much as I love Minnesota, I kind of wanted to leave. So yeah, so that's why I ended up here.
Alex. Okay, Kevin.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin, and I am originally affiliated with the OEOP through C in 2016 and also A2 in 2015. I currently go to Harvard as a freshman and part of the class of 2020, and I am just like really excited. A lot of the factors I think for me in terms of deciding among all my schools and why I picked Harvard out of all those schools I decided was probably one, like what a lot of people said, the atmosphere in the school. And for me, I was a little bit the opposite of Alex, actually. I'm from the Boston area and I'm 30 minutes away, but I originally had some like ideas about like traveling far, but I've honestly come to really appreciate that it was really close to home. So going to like a local college for me was actually really, really nice, and being able to like easily get back home location-wise and have a support community at school are both really, really good reasons that really convinced me to go to Harvard.
Great, thank you.
Great. Yeah, and then Ivan, do you want to unmute yourself and you can introduce yourself?
And then say here on camera. Okay.
Yep. Can you hear us? Or we can't hear you. I saw that you unmuted yourself. Patty, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm going to pop back up in the video. Hi, my name is Patricia Rodarte, or Patty. I am a sophomore at Brown University. I did MITE 2014, and I TA'd this last summer in MITE 2016. The main reason why I chose, so first of all, yeah, I think MITE played a huge role in giving me a support system where I can apply to these big colleges, but also once admitted, this opportunity to speak to other people was very awesome to gain different perspectives. I think the main reason why I chose to attend Brown was because a special academic program that I was offered admission to, the program in liberal medical education, also known as PLEME, where I was admitted as a high school senior into Brown's Alpert Medical School. So after completing 4 years of undergrad, I will be able to matriculate into medical school without needing to take the MCAT or reapply. So I definitely was largely influenced by the academic opportunity, the professional opportunity, but at the same time, I was able to make that decision because I visited Brown before making that decision, and I felt like it was a place where I could truly call home, and I did see myself coming here based on just visiting campus, seeing what the people are like, and getting to know faculty members or people who would be able to support me in my academic endeavors. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Patty.
Great.
Ivan, are you?
Ivan, can you hear us?
You have to come back to.
Because he messaged me earlier that he could hear us.
Okay. Well, we may come back. Ivan, we'll come back.
He says he can hear us. We can't hear you.
We will come back to you. Ivan, would you like to add anything to what our panel has just talked about and what you see in your admissions office, and any advice that you have that you could give our attendees?
Well, I'd just like to echo what everybody has already said. You know, the idea of fit and finding a community with whom you can be comfortable. And, you know, really you want to think of, you know, finding your comfort zone really in times when, when times aren't great. Because, you know, when things are going great, you know, it's an easy place to be. But what if you have no money and are hungry and need pizza? Who will buy you pizza? You know, if you need to study, you know, when a calculus course gets hard, who are you going to study with? Do you have friends who can help learn the material and understand and work through it in a positive and collaborative fashion? You want to find places where you can really connect with people kind of multidimensionally so that, you know, you can grow not just academically, but personally, professionally, emotionally, socially, religiously, if that's part of your identity. You want to grow as a complete person. and have positive experiences. So I think the students articulated that very well. You know, the reason you'll notice that nobody said they went to whatever school because of the fancy name, the prestige, even though, you know, some of the students found schools that were fancy in name. You know, they found the places that felt the best, places that were a good fit. And so that's an important message to think about as you look at your range of options.
Good point. You want to add anything to that before we
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, there we go. All right, so my name's Ivan. I was part of the SEED class of 2016. I'm a current freshman at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and I'm studying electrical engineering. I'd say some of the factors that made me choose Amherst was over a few other colleges was definitely the price. I'd also say the strength of program as well. Like when I got my acceptances, I made sure to review the strength of all of the programs from the different schools. I also looked at how supportive the school was, since to me, one of my biggest fears going from high school to college was losing my support structure, and I wasn't too sure how I was going to be able to build up my support structure. And thankfully, through a couple programs that I got into through Amherst, I now have a support structure that I can lean on and someone I can ask questions to as well. And then I also, of course, have the OEOP family as well.
Thank you, Ivan. Good to hear you. Thank you. That was a really good point. Would anyone else like to address the finding supports at your school and whether or not you found that was harder than you thought? A little bit about how that worked for you, and was that a big part of your decision? And once you got to your school, how did you take advantage of those support systems?
I can.
Yeah, right. Elena.
I guess. So as far as figuring out if I would have a support system, again, like CPW for me at MIT was really important as I started to meet people who I could potentially be friends with when I came here. But once I got on campus, finding that support system was really important to me. I feel like it's pretty common that when you first get on campus, like every student has that freak out of like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for, but my parents are far away and like all these other things, and I'm supposed to be an adult. So I really wanted to find people who could relate to me. And there's like two main sources of how I was able to find friends. One was in my own dorm. So I live in Massey Hall here. And a lot of the people on my floor really gelled well with me. I also lived in a quad, which is like 4 girls in one room, so you had to be friends with them or it wasn't going to work out so well. And then I also joined a lot of clubs when I first got on campus, and I'm still really active. I'm on like student government here. I have a job on campus. So I think finding your niches in campus really will help you, and you'll find students who have the same interests as yourself.
Can you tell them what CPW is?
Yeah, sorry. CPW is Campus Preview Weekend, and there should be similar things at all different schools. So CPW is what's called at MIT, but like I'm sure Brown and like Harvard, they all have Preview Weekend, which if you can go, I highly recommend going. And if they're not paying for it, I would recommend calling the admissions office and seeing if they can do it.
Good advice. Anyone else want to talk about support?
I can add on just to add to what I said about really finding your niche. Something that might be a little bit different in college is that you're gonna like see people from all different backgrounds and all different types of personalities. And what's really cool is that it really is about like learning and getting to know each other rather than maybe high school where things might have been a little bit competitive or really stressful because you're sort of like competing with your peers or something like that. But in college, it's a very different and more collaborative atmosphere because everyone has a different background. And for me, one of the most valuable experiences that I got from my college career so far was really taking the time to get to know everyone and getting to know where they're coming from and getting to understand how they see different things. And I think that's helped me develop so much. And I think this would happen at any college that you would honestly choose. You're just going to have so many people coming in from so many different places, and from each one of those places, they bring something that's very unique to their identity and their culture. And really getting to know that, being open to that, will honestly help you develop and was one of the most important things for me so far in college.
Many of you addressed whether or not you spent some time looking at activities that you could join, and how much influence did that have on your choice of your college? Did you spend a lot of time looking at certain courses, certain clubs, activities? Was that part of your decision process?
I'd like to add, yeah, I'll add something that's actually related to the previous question and the current question as well. When I visited different colleges, and specifically Brown, I was, of course, looking for a support system. And something that I did also regarding activities is I checked the resources that were available for like first-generation low-income students. So I am a first-generation low-income student, and I did speak to different people at Brown regarding what that experience is like and what the support system is like. I met with students while here, and if I wasn't able to meet with students, I would reach out, try to have a conversation with students and how they feel the university is like. Brown last year opened the first ever first-generation low-income student center on campus, and when I was deciding which college to choose, I also saw that Brown was hosting the first ever first-gen Ivy League conference and things like that. In those activities, in speaking to students, investigating by either reaching out or online, I was able to see like what activities and support systems there were available to me. But I think the most important thing is to speak with students who go to the school rather than just look online, if that makes sense. Yeah.
On that, I will also say that you have a really great network of a bunch of students from a bunch of different schools across the country through OEOP. And so if you don't already have an OEOP Connect profile, you should make one. And I really recommend you reaching out to all of our students who are here tonight and other students, because they're some of the best resources you have to ask what their actual experiences at school are.
Activities.
I guess, well, this isn't about activities, but it's about majors.
Okay.
So something that was really important to me was that because I'm such a fickle human and I did not know what I really wanted to study, I wanted a place that had a lot of different options for majors and that were rigorous in all of them. So that was something that I looked for. But back on the support network, I also would recommend finding a place where they tell you that they're here, they stay here because of the people. That was something that people said all the time about MIT, and I thought it was just something that like admissions had ingrained into every student's mind before I came here. But it's actually true. Like, I'm sure at Brown, I'm sure at Harvard, Northeastern, like having that support network makes it so much better and will keep you here during the hard times, and those are the people who will bring you pizza like Quinton.
Maybe shift over to your process, a little bit about how you started to make your decision. Once you've gotten all your letters and you started to look at the different financial packages from the schools, what was some of the process? Were you talking to family? Were you talking to friends? Did you make sure you visited? What was a little bit the next layer down of your process that you started to sift through and arrive at your decision?
Yeah, I can start with this one. So I actually have a brother, my middle brother, who's a senior in high school now, so he's actually going through his classes right now. And we've been talking a lot about just the different options that he has so far. And one of the things that we're looking at is, how is the campus? Do you have different options for your majors, and what are you interested in doing? And are there extracurricular activities something that you'd be interested in doing? So he plays football and rugby in high school, and he's really into business. I think he's going to be an entrepreneur when he grows up. And so that was one of the things that he was looking at as he was applying to colleges. And I think now that he's getting his decisions in, that's something else that he's looking at. And I know for me, when I was going through the college application process and figuring out where I want to end up going, that was also a big thing. Like, I think I really like the biological side of science, and I really want to explore this area. Are the schools that I'm looking at, do they offer a solid program, and do they offer me opportunity to explore other things. And so that was something that I was considering when I was going through the decision-making process.
Can I add something in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. So when I got all my decisions in, one of the things I was definitely looking at was what are the things that I can do with my major. So I was looking at the different clubs for engineering that all my schools had, and I actually did like Amherst the most, since they have their own makerspace, so you can come in every Saturday and you can just talk to someone and you can just make whatever you want. Like, if you have an idea, you come in, they can make it possible. And I thought that people were kind of joking about that when I saw that on their site. I'm like, really? Do they actually have an M5 lab? Like, it seems like such like a hidden gem. And then I actually went there for myself, and sure enough, I actually did end up working on a project with one of the professors there. So that was pretty great. And then also, what I was also looking at was some of the programs offered by admissions. I was offered to join this program where they would they would motivate people to join grad school or to think about grad school. And then also with that, there was the opportunity to go out to different middle schools in Amherst, and we went and we taught the kids that we had science and such, and we got them really excited for STEM. And I really liked that the most, since eventually, like, one day I'm thinking about teaching, so that was also a really good experience.
That's great, thank you.
So one of the situations that I encounter every year from students who've been admitted to MIT, and I imagine this phenomenon occurs to many different colleges and universities, is come to MIT and pay some money or take a partial or full scholarship to a school that, that's a different school. And a lot of times, MIT is a dream school for a lot of students. And so, they're very excited about that. But they also have a great option that could be a little bit more financially helpful for their families. Did any of you have that choice to choose from?
I'd say I definitely did have that choice. It was between WPI and a few other schools. And I applied for some WPI scholarships, and I got a couple of them, but their offer compared to what I was already getting from other schools, it was a little lackluster. So then when I was faced with that issue, I had to go back again into the school sites and really compare, like, the quality, not quality, but really compare, like, what I'm getting into if I go to, for example, WPI versus Amherst and the other schools I applied to. And Amherst was definitely the deciding, it was a school I went with instead, mostly because of the unique things they offered compared to WPI. Since WPI did have my specific major, I wanted to do robotics, but at Amherst, there was a chance for me to be a leader and create a robotics club, since Amherst didn't have a robotics club, so I also thought about that as well.
That is great. That's really helpful. Thank you, Ida.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was in a very similar situation to what was described. I had opportunities to go for free at other colleges versus going to MIT with no financial aid, which was terrifying to, like, a senior in high school who doesn't know much about money. So I got in to MIT early action and just kept applying to other schools because I didn't think I could afford it. And then after all my decisions came in, I still was really adamant about thinking MIT was the best thing for me. And I started weighing it as more of like a return on investment. So where would I grow the most? What job opportunities would there be for me? Where would I feel like I'd be the happiest? And money is a very personal thing, and I think it's something that needs to be weighed. But I also think you should really think about, where will I succeed? What can I do afterward? Will I be able to pay it back? Stuff like that. Money is a large factor, but try to consider everything else with it. Because if I would have just gone on money, I would not have come here, and I think I would have really lost out personally.
Anyone else want to add to that with their experience?
Yeah.
So for me, it was for UMass Amherst, I had a really good financial package, which is really affordable. But I was also looking at other schools, such as BU, Northeastern, and WPI, right? And their packages were not that great for me, and it was like in the tens of thousands, which is like the amount that they wanted me to pay, right, was like almost how much my parents make in total a year, right? So that's like pretty gross. But yeah, so while I was like waiting for more decisions, I was always doing scholarships. So I think I did probably around 20 scholarships by the end of the year. And when it was like time to like actually make a decision, I actually got 2 scholarships, and that scholarship actually leveled out like everything, so I could finally pick between the 4 schools on a level field. And yeah, so with money out of the way, I chose Northeastern, and yeah, without the scholarships, I wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Can we, I'm not seeing.
Actually, I'd like to add it.
Oh, Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
so similar to his situation, I also applied to a lot of scholarships. And when you're applying to a lot of scholarships, don't be disappointed if you don't get a few, because there's always a chance that you can actually get some of those scholarships out of the many that you applied. And with me, I applied for a scholarship, but when I found out about the scholarship, their deadline had already passed for early, notification, since by this point I already had all my college acceptance letters. Actually, no, I didn't have all my college acceptance letters, and I had to apply for the scholarship and tell them what school I was going to. So I kind of had to decide whether to take the risk and apply for the scholarship and go to WPI, for example, or go the safe route and consider everything about Amherst and go to Amherst, but still apply for the scholarship.
Thank you.
And can I just actually, sorry, I think it's also important to think about expenses that you're not told about. For instance, outside of tuition and like room and boarding, there's also buying plane tickets if you live far away, which I'm from Texas, so plane tickets round trip are around $700, $800, depending on the airline. You also need to buy clothes if you're moving from a very cold, warm place to a very cold place, such as I did from El Paso, Texas. And you also think about dorm apparel, like you must buy linens, things for your dorm. So I'm not saying that necessarily this should define which college you choose, but when making your decision, remember that the only money that you will need to be thinking of is not just your tuition, but it will also be a lot of extra factors that you're often not told about. And then once you get to college, books are also expensive, or you have different things to pay. So regardless of where you are on the spectrum of deciding based on financial aid, be aware that there are a lot of things in college that are free, but there's also a lot of things that are not, and you were not told about before coming, or you don't realize that they're there. So just something to consider when thinking about finances in college.
Thank you, Patty.
Awesome. And now can we open it up to everyone who's listening in? If you have any questions, feel free to type them in. There should be a box that either says chat or Q&A, and I can read them out.
I'm not seeing
Yeah. Do we want to go to one of the ones that people already submitted?
So there's a few that people have already submitted. If anyone wants to hit any of the ones that are in front of them, or I can.
So how about parents? Did any of your parents have any reservations about allowing you to go off to college, whether you stayed local or went far away? you know, it's also a conversation with parents when you're making this decision about where to enroll.
For me, my situation with my parents, I kind of just, I'm not trying to like sound rude, but I kind of told them like to kind of let me make my own decisions, kind of like, and they were like really understanding because, and the same thing though, like I had to go, I mean, I had like support systems, but I kind of had to do the whole like applying to college and choosing kind of by myself because my parents like, they didn't go to college. Like my dad didn't finish high school. My mom got her GED, but like they don't really know much about college and FAFSA and like filling all that stuff out. So I was kind of the one who had to like make the decision on my own. I did talk to my like my school counselor actually about it, but for my parents, I kind of just like sat down with them and told them like that I kind of wanted to like live away from them, just to experience like what it felt like to try and be an adult on my own, just because like I'm not gonna be around them a lot when I'm an adult, and I'm probably gonna like move somewhere else, you know. So I kind of wanted to take the first step of like, okay, let me try and live on my own on a college where like I have support systems available, and it's easily accessible at college. So I kind of wanted to do the whole like go away from home kind of thing, and they were supportive, but like they still had like reservations. Like they still call me like on a daily basis, like, oh, how are you doing? Are you still alive? You know, are you eating? And I think like that's just a thing that you kind of have to like come to a compromise, like because they're always gonna worry about you when you're at college, so like always keeping in contact with them just to keep them reassured that you're still alive and still eating is like a major thing to like keep them satisfied.
Yeah. And actually from a different perspective of coming to a college that's only 30 minutes away, I think that I was still able to feel a pretty strong sense of independence because there's so many things going on on campus and so many things that I'm busy with that I actually don't have too much time to really go back home that often. But I do love the fact that I am like fairly close because there's been times where sometimes if you get sick or you don't feel too comfortable, I was actually able to enjoy the luxury of like going back home and sleeping on my own bed and have my parents care for me when I was extremely sick. So I don't know, that was something that helped me a bit, and I feel really comfortable going to a college that's really close.
Thank you. We have a couple of questions. What if you got waitlisted at a certain school? Does anyone want to address having been waitlisted?
Yeah, so I was actually waitlisted for MIT. Waitlisted, it's like, I'd say it's the worst feeling, but it's definitely doable. So like when you're waitlisted, like don't feel, I guess, too down or defeated because you don't really know the true outcome yet, right? So for example, I was waitlisted, I guess, third term of my senior year, and that really like brought me down, and I started, I guess, doing bad in school, right? But that's because I was so focused on just being waitlisted that I didn't care for anything else. But I'd say for you, be very open-minded and optimistic because like waitlisted is better than a rejection, right? So it means that you are definitely like qualified for that school. It just means that like, you know, they just don't have space right now. But if you do end up getting rejected, it's still okay because like the way I think of it is like even though I got rejected, now I feel like it was like a good choice for them to do that because it's like I wasn't in a really stable position at the time, so I guess they were really looking out after me and they knew the best. So even though I'm not in my dream school, Northeastern is still like a really good school and I'm really happy where I am. So keep working hard and don't let your grades slack while you're waitlisted, because it's like they'll check on you later, and if they see that you're still being persistent and working hard, they'll know that, you know, maybe you're the one, and you'll go in.
Any other comments on waitlisting?
So, yes. So with waitlist, colleges put students on wait lists for a variety of different reasons. But the thing about the wait list is that you don't know whether you're going to get off of the wait list and be offered admission or not until after May 1st. And so, as a practical matter, it's in your interest to treat the wait list, if you're waitlisted at a school, as a denial. You have to kind of look at the options that you have in front of you, the places that did say yes and are interested in having you enroll right now. You have to look at those options first. And, you know, if, you know, you can stay on a wait list if you so choose. And, you know, essentially take your cues from the college. You know, some colleges just want you to say yes or no. Do you want to stay on or not? And that's all you have to do. Other schools may want you to write a little statement and send some updates about what you're doing. So you should do that if you want to stay on the wait list. But you should still treat it as a practical matter as a denial and consider the options that you have in front of you so you can end up in a really great school. So do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with them. And also I want to add that sometimes what schools will do, at least at the schools that I applied to, instead of putting you on the wait list, they'll give you like a guaranteed transfer, which in my mind I treated that as a denial because they don't want me for the next term. They want me for like the next year, or like they want me next year or the year after. And then also what a couple of the schools did to me was they gave me an acceptance, and they told me that I was denied into my major and that I would be better suited for another major instead. So I also took that as a denial as well.
Thanks, we have a question from a parent about how important the college visit is as a parent. Did any of you bring a parent to a college visit or have any perspective from your parent or guardian when they came to visit your school?
Yeah, so I brought my dad to campus preview weekend at MIT. I was pretty bad, and I didn't really spend much time with him while I was here. So he got to tour MIT by himself, which he likes to remind me of. But he had a really good time. I think for him, like seeing the campus and learning about it on his own actually made him more comfortable in sending me here, because it wasn't that I was telling him that this was a great place and that I really loved it. It was that he was seeing it for himself. He also has to try dining, and he thought dining was much better than I thought it was. So that made him happy as well.
Well, it's important for parents to remember that this is a huge transition point for not only students, but also for the parents, because the nature of your relationship with your child is evolving. You know, they're exerting more independence, you know, making more choices on their own. Certainly, you know, you're their parents and they're still young, and they're going to come to you for guidance and advice, but it's not necessarily on a day-to-day basis. There are a lot of situations that they're going to be navigating independently, and you have to be confident that you've instilled in them, you know, the values, the fortitude to endure tough times, you know, all those positive attributes that's made them such attractive college applicants, so that they can be admitted to places and have the luxury of choosing the college in which to enroll. And so, you know, when you're visiting campus with your son or daughter, and you know, you're taking a look at the place also, you know, you want to remember to let your son or daughter lead the discussion and the evaluation of the place. And certainly, you know, it's appropriate for you to contribute your voice and your observations about resources and about the culture and about the fit, but really you want to be guided by what your son or daughter wants. This is them driving the bus, and you know, parents are backseat drivers, or maybe in the passenger side for the decision. So
that is a great point. Definitely, you're hoping that they agree that you're going to the school that you have chosen, because it's going to be your 4-year experience. So I agree with that. There are a couple of other questions that we've gotten ahead of time. One was, what is the highest ranking feedback point regarding what you found to be the most important element in your college experience? Second bullet.
Oh, sorry. I can, so I'm not a graduate. Do you want to?
No, they meant, I think they meant that.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I've touched on this a bunch of times, but I still think it's the most important thing. I think being in a place where you're exposed to people of different backgrounds, different cultures, that are all going through the same thing as you is really important. I think, you know, especially at the school that you've been accepted to and where we're all attending, something that's amazing is that you learn a lot from your peers. I mean, in high school, I was the type of person who worked by myself all the time. I didn't like doing homework with other people, and then I got to MIT and realized that was not going to work because I did not survive. And I really got to learn from the people around me and see their perspective on issues. And I think that really helps you adjust to the real world and the working situations that we'll be going into. Because ultimately, you need to work in a team, and you need to be able to listen to someone else's perspective.
Thanks, Linda. We also have a question about a student who has a full ride from a local 4-year engineering honors program. Should I accept it if I'm still trying to decide whether engineering is for me? They don't have my specific engineering, and I may also want to consider studying economy. So this is whether or not
I can again answer, but I'm going to pass it to the other panel.
I guess to the general topic of really choosing what I want to do and what I want to major in has been very flexible for me too. And I think my honest answer is probably to be very open in what you want to do, because you might have a specific path, but sometimes other majors and things have things that you might actually be more interested in that you didn't know of because you just didn't know too much about what there is. So there isn't necessarily a right answer to this in my opinion, but I'm just saying definitely look at all your options and don't necessarily exclude them because you originally didn't plan to do them. Right now, I was thinking about majoring in something that's very sciencey, something that was more human developmental regenerative biology, something that was very research-based concentration or major. But right now, I'm actually thinking of even switching it over to one that's more combining literature and science. So just being open to new ideas and really knowing what those fields offer to you is something good to keep in mind, I'd say.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I'm gonna agree with what he said, because when I started, you know, in senior year of high school, it's just oh, what am I gonna do in college, whatever. I was thinking oh, maybe physics or actually architecture. Those are the top 2 things on my mind. I come here and then all of a sudden everything changes, and I'm okay, let me try and do just normal biology and maybe computer science. I took a computer science class, realized I hated it, and so I was okay, now what, you know? So always keep in mind that what you think you're gonna do right now may not always be the path that you're gonna end up taking. As of right now, I'm doing bioengineering and a minor in neuroscience, but I still really want to take classes in political science. So, and that might change, you know, and it's okay to allow yourself to change what major you're going to do, what concentration, what area of study you're going into. So I definitely recommend that you keep your options open. Granted, I'm not obviously saying what you should choose, but make sure to keep in mind that you might not always want to do the same thing.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to echo what Alex said. Who you are as a high school senior is not the exact same person you will be first year of college, second year of college. Of course, you will become, and you are always yourself, but you continue becoming a better version of yourself as you go through different challenges. Deep, right? As you continue to go through different challenges and different experiences. And you have to be willing to let yourself grow. So, I mean, I made a decision for 8 and many more years as a high school senior. I decided to come to Brown because I wanted to be a doctor. But that being said, when I was making that decision, I did not have any doubts that I wanted to be a doctor or a physician in the future. And ever since I've been to Brown, even though I do have that guarantee of like, oh, I will be going to medical school if I complete, of course, all my courses, there's still sometimes that I wonder if I was in this program, if I would be doing something else. So I definitely do think that you must be like absolutely 1,000% certain that that's what you really want to do, but at the same time, be aware that there are many things that you will experience, people you will meet, places you will go, things you will study that will make you grow as a person and really enable you to discover something that you possibly never have. And yeah, like Alex said that he's in political science, he's been taking classes in that, and even though I'm doing medicine in the future, my concentration right now is involving health and human biology, so more of the culture and the ethics, and in the summer I'll be doing global health research, things that I would have not really experienced if I was just focusing on the hard biology of things. So definitely be open and willing to change, because that's essentially how you will continue becoming the better version of yourself.
That's a great point, Patty. Thank you. Ivan, did you have anything you want to add, or Ebony? I know anything, either one of you?
Yeah, I'll add on. So I definitely agree with what she said, and also to add on, I'd like to say that whatever you do choose to be your major, make sure it's definitely something that you have a passion for and something that you really enjoy doing and that you don't mind doing for a very long time. But also keep in mind that it is okay to change. Like, it's not a bad thing to change your major, let's say like maybe sophomore year or something, if you realize that it's something that you don't have a passion for, something that you don't have fun doing. So yeah, just make sure that what you do choose, it's something that you definitely do have fun doing and definitely something that you do enjoy doing.
I think we might transition over to the financial aid resource, and if anyone has anything they want to add on that. I just had a few resources that I was looking to share with you that had a few questions about filling in the gap when schools, we talked a little bit about it earlier, and if anyone wants to add anything in, a few people have asked me what do I do when that gap isn't filled in. And there are a couple things to do. One of the, I'm going to click on this link right here, and hopefully it'll open up. Yes, there it is. Okay. MIFA, Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority, is a wonderful resource nationally. They have a college cost calculator, hard to say that. You can put as many as 6 schools in at a time, and as you can see as I'm scrolling down here, you're putting in all the information for each school, and then you will find out what you are going to owe at each school, and you can start to compare the cost. At that point, once you have that information and you are looking to call the financial aid office, the recommendation that MIFA gave me, and it varies from school to school, as Quinton and I were talking about earlier, is it's a conversation, and you're talking to them about what your financial picture is. You want to tell them it's your first choice, if in fact it is your first choice. You want to share with them what your financial situation is, and maybe try and make a plan. If they're leaving $28,000 on the table and you know that you can start to fill some of that gap, whether it's taking a loan, working over the summer, the conversation is about how you can narrow that gap and what they might be able to do to fill in the rest of that gap. You want to make it as accessible to them that you are willing to work with them on it. You're not demanding it. You're looking at it from a conversation that you have an open mind with no expectation. And hopefully it has happened. I know there are certainly stories that has happened in the past, and if anyone wants to share that, but I share that as a resource to start with that. And there are some other, oops, sorry, I'm going to let you go back to that. There are some other resources on that page. If you go on the MIFA website, they have a number of webinars available on paying your college bill, and they also have a Twitter chat that you can participate in and ask questions directly on Thursday, March 30th at noon. Does anyone want to fill in any information about things that happen with them and making other phone calls to financial aid or?
I can say mine wasn't successful, but so as I mentioned, like I didn't get financial aid to MIT, and that was like one of the major reasons why I considered not going here. So during campus preview weekend, when my father was here, we both went to the financial aid office together to talk with them. And we basically went in there as an open conversation, like Linda mentioned, you know, not demanding anything, just saying, this is my #1 choice, that I understand that my expected financial or family contribution is this, but I really don't think it's reasonable taking into account these factors. We came prepared with certain documents, just in case they wanted to see proof, and talked about other offers I had been given. And although it wasn't successful for me, I still do recommend doing it, because after hearing another final no, you can't get financial aid, then I was really like, okay, now I have to decide with this factor, there's no changing it. And it gave me peace of mind to know at least I had done everything I could as far as with my school to be in this position to make a decision. And then when you're on campus, there are things you can do to contribute to the cost or to support yourself. Like I have a job in MIT Admissions. I answer phone calls, which is great. So if you called in, I might have answered yours. There's also research opportunities, summer jobs. Also remember that you have the opportunity to get internships over the summer, and depending on what field that you are in, those could also pay a higher salary. So those are things you can put back into your education. So remember that there's going to be other opportunities down the line, and it'll be hard for them to say no and hard for you to hear it, but it's worth a shot.
Especially if your financial picture has changed and there's something about your financial picture that they don't know that's changed from the time that you applied, whether someone has lost a job and you've had 6 months without income. It's really important to share that information because it does change, it changes the picture pretty dramatically. Anyone else want to?
I kind of had a success story. So one of the things I had a few offers, and Yale actually didn't give me the most money at the time, but after going through, going to visit different campuses and like just seeing how the atmosphere was, I like decided that, oh, I want to go to Yale. And so what I did was I contacted my financial aid officer and said like, oh, like you're giving me this much, but this other school is giving me this much. Can we like somehow, can you match their offer? And I was fortunate in that they were able to do that. And so the amount that I had to pay out of pocket was reduced. And like Elena said, I did have a job all 4 years of college, and I did do summer internships over during the summer that were paid. So I was able to like pay for my education while in school and pay for books and plane tickets and things like that to help defray the cost of attending university.
Any more questions from anyone out there? This is a great group great resource for all of you. If you have any questions, this is a great chance to get them answered. You've got this group on camera, the group off camera.
Something while you guys are asking questions that I think should be said is that don't think of this as like the most important decision of your life, and that if you choose the wrong one, that your life will go totally wrong. First off, there is no wrong one. You've been offered like a plethora of different amazing opportunities. If anything, you should be really excited right now. But I know when I was in your position, I was super stressed and just thinking about this lifetime decision that I had to make. But just know, like, you will choose the one that best fits you. And wherever you're going to go, it's going to be great and everything will be okay. And 2 years from now, you'll be a sophomore who's just worried about the PSET and not about where they chose it.
And what I wanted to add as well is that we're all speaking from our personal experiences, and honestly, we can only speak for ourselves. So please, like, if you really are having a difficult time finding a school, like, go to more and more and try to find more resources that can help you as well. Don't take our word for it. You don't have to. You can if you want, but you don't have to. And ultimately, you're the person who's making the ultimate decision. Not necessarily ultimate either, but you're the person who's making the decision where you want to go. And if you need more resources, then definitely go out there. You can talk to us. We can refer you to resources, and try to find more perspectives. And definitely listen to everyone, especially for the schools that you got into. Talk to people over there. Try to get in contact with those people to ask them, like, why did they choose that school, and like what were the motivating factors for them? Because I think that for me personally, the more and more I talk to students, the better picture I got.
Mm-hmm. And then when asking questions, make sure to ask for like an honest review. Like ask like the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you want to know what you're getting into. And I wish I would have done that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I would have like still picked MIT, but like I would have been like more prepared, you know. Just like ask like what don't they like about their college, but what do they also like about their college. So like don't take like a negative spin on it, but still try and understand like what you could be getting into with each college, and try and learn more about each college that you're considering, because like you'll get a more informed choice.
That is great advice.
Yeah, and I'll also like to add, read the emails and the brochures that they send you. I remember like when I read where I was admitted, I was like, oh yay, I was admitted, the end, let me go visit now. No, like, okay. But like, so yeah, celebrate, go out for ice cream or pizza, be proud, be very, very proud of your decision, of everything you've done, not just where you've been admitted, but be proud of how far you've come. But definitely pause for a second and make a list of the pros and the cons of a college, and do this a few days before May 1st. Don't do it while you're on campus. So don't make my suggestion is don't make a decision based on the moment that you arrive to that campus and you really, really like it. Because sometimes the whole feeling of being in a new place, being in your dream school may be very exhilarating and exciting, but once you're in the airport and you fly back home and you're sitting in your room, you should wait a few days so that everything is processing in your mind. So definitely be excited and let your emotions like be there for you and like be excited, but don't make a decision based on your emotions. Make a decision based on your mind, of course, your heart, if that's what you'd like. Logic, use logic definitely. Be happy and excited and be emotional, but don't make a decision just based on your emotions. Take a few days after you leave the campus to process what just happened. Make a list, and don't try to make a list like me, like 5 minutes before you actually click the school that you wanted to go to. Make it ahead of time. And if anything crazy happens and you decide on May 1st where you, like, I want to go to this school, and then a few weeks later you're like, I actually do not, like, I thought about it, this is not what I want. I think colleges are understanding in you reaching out after a while and being, honestly, I'm sorry, I was visiting so many colleges, I was overwhelmed, like, can we talk about my decision again? So I wouldn't say, like, this is the end-all, be-all on May 1st. You still have a few weeks of, if you really, really, really need it, and you're at that point, that colleges, I think, will be accepting. And if worse comes to worse, you go to the school, you realize it's not for you, there's a transfer opportunity. but don't think that May 1st is the end all be all. Is that the saying? I don't even know. And also make decisions wisely and not just based on how you're feeling in a certain moment. Yes.
And to add on to that, I would say that visiting the campus kind of isn't enough. Definitely like reach out to admissions and see if they have an overnight program like WPI and Amherst did, so you can actually get a feel of what it's like sleeping there and see if you can think, you know what, I wouldn't mind sleeping and being here for 4 years. So.
Oh, that's great. Both of you got a lot of nods from this group on both of your comments. Yeah, that really hit home. Any other last-minute pieces of advice to this group of high school seniors?
I think we kind of said it earlier, but just to reinforce the point, everything's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. This decision is not life-defining. As important as it is to think that college is good for you, it's also important to do well in college. So that's something to look out for. Once you finish college, you're going to be thinking about what do I want to do? Where do I want to work? And although employers, maybe some of them look at where you went to school, it's even more important how you did in school. So you shouldn't just pick a school because of the sticker name or like what it looks like. It's like, I like this place and I feel like I can do well and I can enjoy myself here and I can thrive. So yeah.
I think Ivan also had said something about that, about feeling like he could be a leader at UMass Amherst, and I think that was, I think you're right.
Also something like I mentioned before, like choosing a school is a very highly stressful decision for me, and I want to like remind you guys that like enjoy the last parts of your senior year. You will never be back in the position where you are with the people who you were with. And I'm not saying that you'll never see your friends again. You can visit them. But it's different when you come back home the first time after college. So enjoy this time of just being in high school and like having your parents take care of you, because I know you may think they're nagging, but you'll miss them when you come here. And you'll miss everything from home. So enjoy that. And then when you do choose and when you come to campus, remember that you were accepted for a reason. A big thing that happens when you get to campus is sometimes you have imposter syndrome and you think, why did I get in? You got in. The admissions counselors do not make mistakes. They spend way too long reading your application to have accidentally accepted you. So enjoy now and be confident later, and you guys will be okay.
That is great advice.
Yeah. And last one for me. So for you guys who are, I guess, stressing out right now, or I guess anxious, feel free to like talk to people, because like especially your peers, because everyone's feeling like the same way as you are. So there's like no need to hide it, like I did, because like it'll definitely make you feel much better and more confident in yourself. And as well, like for parents, you should definitely make sure you congratulate your son or daughter, on all their success, and make sure that they know that they're loved and that you support them. And that really goes a long way, especially during college too. And when you do get into college, make sure you have like a good mindset, like be really open, because if you go into college like thinking I don't want to be here, that's all you're gonna think. But college is what you make it. So if you come in and you want to have a good time, do well, that's what's gonna happen. So.
From you, Quinton, or from Ebony? Anyone else?
I think the great advice is always already been shared, so I'm not going to try to top that.
I think I'll add one more thing. I promise. Okay. To like students watching, you're not defined by the school that you go to. Like you are absolutely not defined by the school that you go to. So although you may have a dream school, and maybe you will get in, maybe you won't get in, but essentially use college as a vessel for you to continue, like I said previously, continue growing, achieve achieve your dreams, find new dreams, and try new things. It's not just the end of everything you've ever done. There's so much more that you will do, and that's not going to depend on the name of the sweater that you wear and walk around at home and be like, oh, look, this is where I go. No, your college is not just something that you will post on Facebook about and say, yay, I got admitted to MIT 2020, or like, yay, Harvard, Brown, Yale, anywhere. It's not just something, it's not a label, it's really an experience, and in making that decision, realize what it is. It's an experience. It's 4 years of your life. It is things that you have never imagined. It's not just a label. So you're not defined by it, but rather you will give to your college, and your college will influence you, but it's not gonna define you. So just, yeah, my last word.
Thank you. I want to thank all our panelists for being with us. It was wonderful to have your advice, and I hope that our seniors in high school gained a lot from your wonderful resource. We will be sending out a survey. If you could please help us out and give us your feedback. It's really important to us that we're trying to address things that you want to hear from us, so we will send you a link about our survey. And as Meredith said earlier, this will be on our website in a couple of weeks, so you can look at it. And I do encourage you to reach out to our office. We are here as a resource for you. We are really proud of you. You've all done incredibly well. And I want to thank you for joining us. And I'm wondering if maybe Ebony is in the background there, and anything you want to say, Ebony? Or Austin Henry, future college student. Well,
we miss you guys.
We miss you. We're really excited that you are joining us today, and I really want to thank Quinton and Meredith for setting this up, and our panelists. So I hope you have a good rest of your week, and enjoy your senior year. Bye, guys. Bye, Ivan and Patty and Ebony. Thank you so much for joining us. That was really, really helpful that you were there.
See you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you. All right, we miss you too. All right. Bye. Okay. Aw. Bye, everyone. Oh, Ivan, thank you so much. I'm sorry we couldn't